Hello and welcome to another episode of The Kid Stays in the Podcast. I'm your host, Trey Cooper, and joining me today is...
S0 Low Cooper.
Okay, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I'm not too upset with this one.
Not particularly funny, but at least it works.
It's not supposed to be funny.
Okay, it hasn't been funny in a long time, but at least that works.
Yeah.
Anyway, joining me today is Solomon Cooper, and we're going to discuss a movie that we were both looking forward to for maybe a little bit different reasons, and that is the latest Blumhouse movie, M3GAN.
M3GAN. And there's a 3 in the name, and that's why I have a 0 in my name. So
Yes. Audiences love when you have to explain the joke to them.
well, just wanted to make sure, just so they're not confused.
So M3GAN is it's Blumhouse, and is it Blumhouse or Bloomhouse? I think it's Blumhouse.
I say Blumhouse.
Yeah.
Blumhouse sounds dumb.
I agree. So, and then it's also produced by a studio that I've seen on a couple of these indie films, but I can't remember what it's called. Like Radioactive Robot.
Yeah, something cool.
Yeah.
Something cool like, giant robot.
I can't remember. Anyway, you don't care, and neither do we, who the co-production studio was. So when I say we were excited about this for different reasons, I think you were more sincerely excited about it.
Yeah.
Whereas I thought it was going to be a steaming pile of hot garbage.
And you were going to
But I wanted to
make fun of it.
I wanted to watch it and make fun of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want you to just think about this. We had a reboot of Chucky, or Child's Play, sorry, that came out not too long ago, wherein they changed the origin story of Chucky to, instead of being a demon-possessed doll or a serial killer possessed doll, he was just a evil robot.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the trailers, this movie, M3GAN, looked like it was a knockoff of a knockoff. You know what I mean? It looked like a knockoff of the crappy version of Child's Play.
Yep.
With one serious problem, and that is that it was also releasing
in January.
Well, I wasn't going to say that yet, but yeah, it was releasing in January, which is normally a dumping ground for hot garbage movies. But I was going to say it was releasing with a PG-13 rating.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the one positive thing that the newest Child's Play had going for it was that at least it was rated R. You know, so you got some good murders.
You want to know what?
What?
Do you want to know a movie that you like?
What is that?
Drag Me to Hell.
I do.
And it's rated PG-13.
I'm not saying that no horror movies should be rated PG-13. I'm just saying if you're making a ripoff of what I thought is just a ripoff of Child's Play, the new one, then that is not a movie. You don't want a slasher movie to be rated PG-13. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Like, I really think that those Happy Death Day movies would be 30 times better if they were rated R. It's really hard to make a PG-13 slasher movie, in my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, some of my favorite movies are actually PG-13 horror movies. Sorry, some of my favorite...
Which ones?
I keep clearing my throat, which I apologize for, but...
Name an example.
Some of my favorite horror movies. The Conjuring.
That's PG-13?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so haunted house movies, exorcism movies, a lot of times are rated PG-13. So it's just, movies that need someone getting stabbed, don't want to watch it PG-13. Anyway, talking around the movie, again.
It's our favorite thing to do here on The Kid Stays in the Podcast.
So what we got was unexpectedly well executed. Frankly, bizarre as forks.
I expected it. What?
Yeah, I say it's forks now because I don't want to say bad words.
Oh, I thought that was like a saying that people say, like, because a fork is so bizarre.
Anyway, go ahead. What were you going to say? You were expecting it?
Oh, I was expecting how good it was.
Were you?
All the way through. I mean, you tried before. You were like, "Oh, dude, this movie's gonna be so bad." Like a couple weeks ago, a couple weeks before we saw it, and I was like, "No, this movie's gonna be the best movie ever made."
Best movie ever made is what you were thinking.
No, I thought it was gonna be really good though.
Was there anything about it, tonally or plot wise, or anything that was unexpected to you? Did it zig when you expected it to zag, or did it pretty much stay on the course that you thought it was going to be?
I mean, I didn't have a course. I didn't expect any course.
Come on, bro. You watch a trailer for a movie, you have some idea of what you think the movie's going to be like.
Well, I guess I had a couple ideas in mind that happened, but there wasn't like any ideas that I had that were like throughout the whole movie.
So you're saying that the movie didn't surprise or wasn't unexpected or anything? Just it was exactly what you thought it was going to be from the trailer.
I guess. I mean, there was just some random things that I didn't plan for. I wasn't planning for the movie, how the movie was going to play out, but yeah.
Okay. I'm going to call BS on that. I don't believe you. I think you're just purposely being obtuse.
I expected the whole movie.
The movie is almost at least 30 or 40% a very, very funny dark comedy. And if you thought that was going to be the case from watching the trailer, then I'm just going to have to call shenanigans. I think you're a big liar. Either that or you're being obtuse about me asking you if the movie did anything different than what you were expecting.
Well, then it did go a little bit different, just a little bit off my path.
Off your path?
Off the beaten path of what I expected.
So the movie the trailers definitely made it look like it was just going to be a straightforward killer doll movie, essentially, even though the doll is a robot. This movie, everything that you would have expected it was going to do, it does better. Mm-hmm. So instead of it just being about creepy doll or whatever, creepy doll robot, they actually really lean into the robotics part of it. You know what I mean? The main character is a robot inventor lady.
No, it's called a roboticist.
Is it called roboticist?
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Well, I'm not going to say that because I'm not positive that's even a word.
Well, I saw it somewhere.
Anyway, she invents robots for a toy company. She's played by Allison Williams.
Yep.
Most of you will know her from the TV show Girls.
She also was a guest star on Sesame Street at some point.
Oh yeah, so some of you probably saw her on her guest starring appearance on Sesame Street.
Most of y'all. Let's be real. Everyone watched Sesame Street.
I've always been a huge fan of hers, and she is really great in this as the, career obsessed robotics inventor. I'm gonna keep calling her robotics scientist.
Inventor.
Robot scientist.
You could just call her a robot inventor, not a robotics inventor.
She makes robots.
Yes, a roboticist.
So we'll dive into all of this. Oh, sorry, Solomon doesn't like it when I say we'll dive into it. We'll splash around in the.
That's what we already do.
We'll splash around in the deep end of this later on. Yeah, that sounded really weird. But let's get a quick plot synopsis for you, for those who are unfamiliar with M3GAN.
Yep.
And prepare, once again, this is a full spoiler podcast, so.
Yeah, we're going to need a plot synopsis because there's some things that are unexplainable without said one.
So let's quickly do a plot synopsis.
So, yeah, I've been actually doing my research on this one. I'm going to give you a good one today.
I'm going to adjust I'm going to adjust in my seat to get ready for this plot synopsis, but I banged into my microphone.
All right, I'm actually going to adjust as well. Okay.
Come on, bro.
Wait,
we're halfway through this segment. We haven't got the plot synopsis out.
I forgot everything about the plot synopsis. Okay. There is a roboticist.
Oh, off to a bad start.
Named Gemma. And she gets put into an unexpected position when her niece's parents.
I
didn't know how to say it. Niece's parents are killed.
I would have phrased that as her sister and brother-in-law, but go ahead.
Causing her niece to be. Okay, I don't know how to talk. Putting her niece into custody with.
Into custody?
How do you say?
Putting her niece into custody?
Giving the aunt custody of. That's how you say it. Giving Gemma custody of the niece. She doesn't really know how to do all this parenting stuff. She's never done it before, and so she finally creates her magnum opus of technology named M3GAN, and that basically raises her. And they try and
Okay, we're getting way past synopsis point at this point.
And then some bad things happen. She turns evil. Crazy robot.
I would have just said that.
I literally did research on that one, by the way, guys.
But it's pretty easy. All you had to say was that this lady who's a roboticist gets custody of her niece, and she tries to raise her, but she instead she enlists the help of her latest invention, which is a humanoid robot,
But
a lifelike humanoid robot named M3GAN.
what about the part where she turns bad?
You don't need that in the synopsis. They know that from the trailer.
You need that.
Okay, then you can say, and things turn bad.
That's what I said. Exactly what I said. I feel like you said a lot of the things that I said. I said it in a more roundabout way.
In a way that sounded like English was your fifth language.
Thanks. That means I know 4 other languages. Genius.
So, yeah, that's essentially the plot of the movie. What's great is the plot is very simple.
Yep.
But they really do the stuff that they're trying to do very well, and they balance about 5 different tones throughout the movie. So
5?
I don't know.
That's a lot of tones.
There's several different tone shifts.
How does one even balance 5 tones?
I don't know, man. They just did it. It's probably more like 3.
I was gonna say.
But either way, you have the cool beating heart of the movie, which is the relationship between Gemma and her niece, who is obviously grieving the loss of her parents.
Her name is Katie, by the way.
Yeah, so that's a pretty hardcore thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Having to deal with a child that's dealing with grieving the fact that both of her parents were terribly killed in a snowplow accident.
Mm-hmm.
Also, right off the bat, you get a idea, and it's not played for laughs, don't get me wrong, but you get the idea of the movie's very dark, sly sense of humor, which is whenever in the prologue scene, when the little girl's in the back seat and her parents are arguing because they're driving in the snow, and the mom tells them that they need to stop the car and wait for a snowplow to come by, and then they get killed by a snowplow. You know what I mean? That's the kind of sneaky, dark humor that this movie is going to come back and be employing throughout.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But either way, the beating heart of this movie is essentially Gemma having to learn how to become a mother or a guardian to her niece, who she does care about, but in a more obligation-y kind of way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
like her sister gave her custody, and so now she's having to do it.
Yeah. But she probably wouldn't have chosen to if she didn't feel obligated to. I shouldn't say she wouldn't have chosen to if it wouldn't have been forced upon her, because she does have the option the whole time of letting her go live with her brother-in-law's parents or whatever.
Yeah.
So she wants to do it, but it feels like she wants to do it more out of obligation or guilt or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I read online that some people really thought that this part of the movie slowed the movie down too much, that they focused too much on their relationship and the trauma that the young girl's going through, and they're developing that mother-daughter kind of bond. What did you think? Did you feel like it slowed the movie
down? The movie?
Yeah, they felt like they said every time it dealt with any of that stuff, the movie ground to a halt. Not everybody's saying that. I'm just saying I read a person said that, so I was curious, since you're attention deficit disordered teenager.
Oh, so now I have ADD.
Not really, not medically, just in a descriptive way.
Do. Okay.
Okay, so just poor attention span, TikTok watching.
That's you.
15-year-old. Did you feel that way? Did you feel like it slowed the movie down?
My father's a hypocrite. No, I did not feel that way. Like you said before, it's kind of like the beating heart of the whole movie. You know, like that's like how the whole movie starts and why any of this is happening at all. So I feel like it's important to have that in like every way. Otherwise, I feel like it doesn't feel like anything that's happening means anything or is worth it.
Yeah, and I also think that it's not only is it important for you to get a solid grasp on these characters and care about them, you know, I think it's also important because once the movie starts getting crazy, and when I say crazy, we'll discuss this in the next segment, I don't just mean, oh, the killer robots be killing kind of crazy. The movie really does some very odd tonal shifts throughout, just kind of veering back and forth between comedy, dark comedy, slapstick comedy, gonzo, I don't know where this came from comedy. And you really need those two grounded characters, I think, to sell those scenes. Anyway, we need to take a break, and we will be back and finish our discussion of M3GAN.
Woo. And
now a word from our sponsors.
Hi, this is Sarah.
And I'm Carter.
And this is Some of Our Thoughts.
We're two Southern sommeliers, and we want to share everything we love and know about wine. We started hanging out during quarantine and cooking and drinking and listening to music, and we just thought this would be a great way to bring everything we know to you guys.
We will make wine knowledge and food pairings easy and approachable. So put on your favorite vinyl, grab your favorite glass of wine, tune into our show, and let's have some fun.
Wine and vinyl. So check us out on roguemedianetwork.com or wherever you get your favorite podcast. We'll be talking about a lot.
911, what's your emergency?
Do you hear that? It's coming from the house.
It's coming from inside the house? Do you mean? Could it be?
The Poltergeist. New from Rogue Media. Two haunted hotties talking about haunted places. Every episode we dive deep into the darkest places and give you a bit of history.
We're getting spooky in all the right places.
You've gobbled your last ghoul.
Follow along for the craziest and spookiest stories with Debbie's Dark Tourism. The Stanley Hotel,
Winchester House,
The Alamo,
Hotel Monte Vista,
and more spooky places. Find us at _Poltergals. POLTERGALS.
Look over your shoulder. It's us,
The Poltergals. Wherever you consume the podcast, you can find us there.
What are we doing here, Rusty? What are we going to do?
Yep, we're doing the King of the Hill Rewatch Podcast.
King of the Hill Rewatch Podcast. Yeah, so we're going to go through one episode at a time. Come along for the ride with us.
Come check it out.
And give me a good like Dale Gribble quote to go out on. Wingo.
Yeah, Wingo.
Wingo. All right. Well, join us for the King of the Hill Rewatch Podcast.
Deep in the heart of Texas, that drinks his brew and he spits his chew. Deep in the heart of Texas, the TV blares but no one cares. Deep in the heart of Texas, here we go.
Welcome back to the Kid Stays in the Podcast and our discussion of M3GAN.
So we were kind of talking about how the relationship is the beating heart of the movie and kind of grounds the movie.
Yep.
But before we dive into, I said dive again.
Stop it. What is up with the dive thing?
I don't know.
Or we should get some merchandise that says "Let's dive in."
Before we bungee jump into talking about what this movie does with tone, why don't you? Didn't you say you had some fun trivia that you wanted to say about the movie?
I just wanted to say some alternate titles, just like because I thought that was interesting.
Were these actual alternate titles, or are these funny jokes that, quote unquote, funny jokes that you made up?
No, that would be too cringy for me.
Okay.
So the working title was, I think it was called like "Don't Meet M3GAN."
Ooh, that's awful.
Don't play with M3GAN. It's horrible. It's really bad, actually. And then it was just interesting because in different places they changed the names. Most of it is just like all lowercase. But one of them was called it was spelled like M3GAN, like M.
Yeah, I know how me is spelled.
GAN, and that's it. Honestly, I just thought that was quite interesting.
Oh, that was all the trivia?
Yeah, it's all the trivia. I just thought that was fun.
I thought there's gonna be much more names than that, just than they capitalize the names.
I don't know how to spell or say. Yeah, it was called "Don't Meet M3GAN." Just wanted to make sure.
So, the screenwriter's name
Akilah Cooper.
Akilah Cooper. She wrote a movie called *Malignant*, which I think we reviewed on this very podcast. Directed by James Wan, and if you've seen *Malignant*, you know what kind of gonzo energy Cooper brings to her movies, right? Like that movie.
I just can't imagine like reading that script.
Oh, I would be so excited.
Well, and obviously I'd be excited, but just seeing all the crazy stuff that happens like during those third acts in either of those movies is just whack.
Well, *Malignant* also has a very sly, dark sense of humor. It also veers back and forth between really over the top and really grounded, and then really back into slapstick. You know what I mean? All while maintaining one thing that I think is really important about all these movies for me. They remain very, very cool for a certain kind of movie fan the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like the ending of *Malignant* is so silly, and I can see why some people, boring people or dull people might only joking.
He's not.
But it's still really cool. You know what I mean? That like last fighting scene or whatever in *Malignant*. Same thing in this movie. But yeah, so this movie takes a pretty long time to build up into where Megan's even in the movie, really.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. So let alone killing, because they have a long setup of the toy company that they work for, that she does robotics, how, you know what I mean, what they have her doing for the company, how Megan was created,
why she ends up making Megan all the way.
Right, exactly. So, and then of course the bonding between her and her niece, the contentious relationship that they have.
And then you got to let Megan have all the time to be like
good at first, before
she can't just have an automatically evil robot. That's no fun.
Yeah,
no fun at all.
So, the movies, I would say, other than the fact that it's doing it better than I could possibly have imagined, up until this point, I think the movie is basically hitting the notes that I would have expected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I said, much better. It's a better script than I would have expected. It's well shot. It's well acted. All these are things I was not expecting at all. But other than that,
such a low bar.
I know the bar was set to 0.
I didn't think it was going to look good. Didn't think anyone in it was going to be good.
Nope. I thought it was going to be crappy. So I was surprised that the movie that I was watching was good, and it was already funny, but it was funny in a way that just fit with the characters, the character comedy. Like when the therapist, who's kind of a douchebag the whole time, by the way. The therapist like has Gemma get some of her collectibles off of the shelf and out of their boxes so that the little girl can play with them, and tries to act like she's being douchey by not letting her play with her collectibles. Annoying.
They're collectibles.
But that little scene was really funny, and there's just like I said, some character driven humor there, but nothing really crazy.
No crazy things are going on.
Yeah,
no gonzo things are happening yet.
And then the part where the movie shifted for me, you know exactly when it was, and I was like, oh wow, this movie's like being silly in a way that was hilarious to me. But anyway, I've described the scene enough times. You were there, so why don't you just kind of describe the scene for the audience?
Just to let y'all know, my dad laughed at this scene for like, it felt like 30 minutes.
I did not.
Maybe 5 though.
It probably just felt like that because we were with a pretty small audience at the theater, and nobody else in the theater was laughing. Like I could tell that they all thought the scene just was dumb. Like they didn't get that it was supposed to be funny. They were just sitting there confused. And it probably just seemed like I was laughing for longer because I was the only person laughing.
He was laughing for 2 minutes straight. I said 5, but I just realized how long those times are. But yeah, 2 minutes sounds about right. And very loudly, by the way. It wasn't like a giggle. It was like booming laughter. Now, I'll get straight into this scene. So basically, Gemma is like presenting the robot to like upper management. Megan, I should specify. And so her daughter is in the room with her.
Her niece.
Sorry. You know what? I just felt like their bond was so close
It wasn't.
that I didn't need to say that.
At this point, by the way, M3GAN has been living with them and basically acting as a surrogate best friend for her niece.
For like a couple days.
For a couple days. And we forgot to mention this, but it's kind of the core part of the movie. Whenever a new user is, they pair the new user with M3GAN, with the robot.
Yeah.
So it's permanently, they're their primary user.
Yep.
So the robot is bound to her also.
Yes.
And as her protector. So yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. So yeah, she's basically trying to demonstrate how this will benefit like people and how this robot works to like all the people who are like the upper people of our company. I
Upper people.
I said that earlier though.
It's the board. It's the entire board. They're about to do a launch. So they have them in this presentation room behind a one-way mirror.
Yeah.
And all of these board members, all these millionaires and billionaires.
Wouldn't it be a one-way window?
Nope. Well, it could be either way, one-way mirror or a one-way.
But they're on the side. where it's
Mirrors
a
are
window.
always one way though, huh?
Yeah.
Whatever. It's one of those one-way things that cops have. Anyway, so inside of one is like a little kid's playroom. They can't see the boardroom. The board members are all watching them, all these millionaires and billionaires and investors and whatever. And they're going to demonstrate that how M3GAN is interacting with this little girl.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So basically, it kind of goes off the rails immediately because Katie starts like sobbing, just because she feels so bad. Her parents dying, yada yada yada, and so there's this actually like genuine, like moment between M3GAN and Katie, and she's actually like helping her. It's crazy how like sentimental it really felt,
especially because the scene is really cringy at first. Like it starts off like you're just like, oh no, this whole presentation is going to go off the rails because she's using her traumatized niece, and her trauma decided to kick in. You know what I mean? Right in the middle of the presentation.
Yeah, and so she like lets her say, she like says something about her like something that brought her joy about her mom or something. And like M3GAN like keeps like records the clip and like keeps it and tells her like, if you ever need some reassurance and joy, just let me know. And it's really sweet. And then she bursts out into a Disney song like just immediately afterwards. And
it's shot in a very
Disney
way. Like it's showing close-ups of her like brushing her hair away from her cheek and wiping her tears away. I don't even know what song that was. That's the original song for the movie?
I have no idea. And
the other ones I recognize, but not that one.
So yeah, and that was what made my father laugh for 2 minutes.
Dude, the killer robot starts singing like a Disney princess. It's perfect because you can imagine that being a functionality of a robot doll for a girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was so out of the blue, and it capped off this really emotional scene. And then it's like panning over to like all of the investors and stuff, and they're all crying.
Yeah.
And it just goes on. It's like it's not like she just says a thing. She like sings like a whole song, it felt like.
It's like a minute and a half. You see, I didn't laugh because I was too involved. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I was just like, oh yes, this is par for the course. Not like I knew that was going to happen, but it just felt I was too like in the world that it didn't feel like that was weird.
So you think that I was wrong? You don't think that was supposed to be funny?
Well, I'm not saying that they didn't think it's supposed to be funny. I'm sure it was, but I just didn't, because I was too like apart. I felt like I was Katie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm rolling my eyes really hard and nobody can see it.
Yep.
Well, they actually do pull this joke twice, and they have her sing another Disney princess way. This time they ever sing Titanium, which is a pop song that I know, but she sings it.
Good job. You know that one.
Well, it's funny also because the doll is made out of partly titanium.
Yep, that was pretty funny.
And that also, though, she sings it like a Disney princess as a lullaby. At this point, I think she started murdering.
She did. I'm pretty sure. I think she killed a dog before the presentation.
Yes. Yeah, she had.
So she was already.
Yeah, so we see already that her primary function of being like a protector and keeper from harm, as she's as her AI is like lowing. I don't know what I was even trying to say. I don't know. As her AI is learning.
Oh.
And growing. We see the first time she does, the neighbor's dog bites the little girl, and so M3GAN, she tricks it using some nice vocal work.
Yeah, that's actually, I just noticed this. She copies that person's voice and like plays it back, and she does that with the what's it called? The presentation.
Yeah, she does that throughout the movie.
Does she?
Yeah, she lures the dog out with the woman's voice, then she lures the woman in with the dog's voice.
True. Just thought it was interesting. Yeah, I thought about it.
All right, so we only have about 4 minutes left, so I want to make sure that we get to cover everything we want to. So let's hit the PG-13 thing really quickly.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God that it was PG-13. That's what I was going to say.
So I think that the movie could have easily not been PG-13 and not have to be horrendously gross. But I think that knowing this team, they probably would have, if it was rated R, they probably would have showed us all the gross stuff. So I'm kind of two minds. I tend to agree with Solomon that I think it actually ended up working out in their favor. But I don't love the idea that Blumhouse, the reason they made them change it. The reason they made them change it is that they were following the essentially viral marketing trends and seeing where interest was popping up. You know what I mean? Click-throughs, surveys, et cetera, et cetera. And the population that was really excited about M3GAN was teenagers. So they made them go back and reshoot all of the kill scenes to make them PG-13. That is a pretty cynical reason to cut a movie to PG-13. Would you not agree?
Sure.
I will say they got a lot of mileage as far as murders go with that PG-13 rating. What does that mean?
You have no idea. This movie was shockingly gross. I feel like I was watching Terrifier again.
Oh my gosh. Now, so you're going to scare people away from watching the movie, and I think this is the kind of horror movie that you could watch with anybody, even people that aren't. I wouldn't even necessarily call it a horror movie, maybe like a techno thriller.
That's wrong.
You just now, honestly, if there was other people in the room that normally don't watch stuff, but then maybe they'll watch The Sixth Sense or whatever, and you're saying it was so disgusting and gross, it's rated PG-13. It's not that gross. It's just left up to your imagination. What happens besides that kid's ear getting ripped off, which was played mostly for comedy, horrible comedy?
A lot of things.
What else is shown that you see?
That's it.
And you don't even really see that.
Well, that was just gross enough for me.
Wasn't even that gross. It looked like Matilda whenever she stretches that guy's ears out.
No, it did not look like that. That was the problem.
It looked exactly like that. I don't even think someone's ear can stretch that way. I tried to stretch mine. It didn't stretch at all.
Also, you did it for like 3 seconds, and you're not as strong as either of those characters. But there was some other things that could have been a lot grosser.
That's what I'm saying. It could have been, but it wasn't. You just now said the movie is so gross. There were so many gross things in this movie.
Well, that's not what I meant. I meant like
could have been gross. It was rated R.
Yeah, it could have been the Terrifier too.
Yeah. Well, you made it sound like it was the Terrifier too.
I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, apologize right now.
You should watch this movie.
With your kids and your grandkids and your baby cousins.
With your 3-year-old nephew, yes.
Yeah, 2-year-olds even.
Not even born,
Dude,
honestly.
this is not even... So I'm going to waste the last 30 seconds of our show saying this. The movie's great. I give it 9 out of 10 killer robots for this kind of movie. Fantastic, hands down. Wonderful way to start the year. But I wanted to just tell a story really quickly. We actually did see somebody in the movie theater with a baby that had been obviously in a uterus like 20 minutes earlier. I've never seen a baby that young. I think someone stole the baby from the maternity ward and was just hiding out at the movie theater. So people were taking really young kids.
Yep. So
anyway, your final rating?
I'm going to also give it a 9 out of 10 numbers in my name.
Ugh. That was ruined the whole thing.
I love numbers.
Anyway, check this movie out. Honestly, I think you can watch this with people who don't think they like scary movies, and it's not because there's no scary parts. It's just that the movie changes tone so much. I think they'll have a great time. That's our show. Until next time, thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Follow us on Instagram at The Kid and the Pig and on RogueMediaNetwork.com.
Until next time.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.